Every path we walk holds secrets. Some are in plain sight, some are waiting to be discovered. What if, on an ordinary day, you stumbled upon something extraordinary? An unknown place, shrouded in mystery and power. Not long ago, I found such a place. Deep in the woods behind my house, an ancient well called to me. And when I touched it, everything changed. It was some kind of portal, some kind of looking glass into Aldarian. A world of light and shadow, of choices and consequences. A world that feels closer to our own than you might think. Through that well, I see it all happening now, today, as we speak. These are their stories, their destinies, and I am here to share them with you. So come with me, my friends. Join me in this journey beyond the well. In Awakening, Episode 2, A Skeptical Heart. The fire crackled softly in the hearth, casting flickering shadows along the wooden walls of the shoemaker's home. Orin Kalder sat across from Ter'Ryn and his father, his gloved hands wrapped around a steaming cup of tea. The warmth of the room contrasted with the chill outside, but it did little to ease the tension that hung between them. Ter'Ryn's father, Halstyn, was a man of quiet strength. His hands, roughened by years of labor, rested on a worn table between them. His expression was firm, not unkind, as he regarded Orin with a measured gaze. He had listened patiently as Orin recounted the events of the afternoon, his son's unexpected agility, the way he had evaded the bullies with an awareness beyond his years. Now silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken thoughts. "I appreciate your kindness in bringing my son home," Halstyn said at last. "But if you've come to fill his head with tales of old magic and myths, I fear you've wasted your time." Orin took a slow sip of his tea before setting the cup down. "I understand your skepticism," he said evenly. "Many believe the Nexus to be nothing more than legend, a story told to children to make sense of things they cannot explain." Then he met Halstyn's eyes. "But I have seen it, felt it, lived it." Then, turning his head to look at Ter'Ryn, he said, "And so has your son." Ter'Ryn shifted in his chair, his fingers brushing the bruises along his ribs. He said nothing, but his mind swirled with questions. The things Orin had said, they made sense in a way he couldn't quite grasp. Halstyn, however, exhaled sharply through his nose. "The only truth I have ever known is that which Elyon has set before us. The work of our own hands, the strength of our backs, and the love we give to one another. That is what shapes a man." He glanced at Ter'Ryn. "Not sorcerers' whispers of unseen forces." Orin nodded thoughtfully. "What if Elyon and the Nexus are not separate?" Halstyn frowned, his fingers tightening around his cup. "Blasphemy!" "Is it?" Orin tilted his head and looked at Ter'Ryn. "What if the power that flows through the Nexus is the same power that shapes the world? The same force that allows you to sense danger before it strikes, to know when something is right or wrong before words are spoken?" He let the question hang in the air. "What if Elyon simply speaks through a different means?" A long silence followed. The only sounds were crackling fire and the distant howl of the wind outside. Ter'Ryn swallowed, his voice hesitant. If the Nexus is real, what is it?" Orin leaned forward, his expression unreadable. "It is not magic, not spells or incantations. It is, at its essence, connection. A thread that binds all things, living and unseen. Some feel it faintly, like a whisper in the dark. Others, like you, hear it more clearly, though you do not recognize its voice yet." Halstyn shook his head. "These are words, nothing more." Orin exhaled, his fingers drumming lightly on the table. "Let me show you something." He closed his eyes, reaching out, not physically, but with quiet awareness that had been honed over decades, a sense that only came through a connection to the Nexus. The room remained still, unchanged, yet an unseen energy shifted in the space between them. When Orin spoke again, his voice was low and steady. "In your barn, there are 6 animals, 3 goats, 1 mare with a white streak down her nose, and 2 pigs. 1 heavier because she is with child." Halstyn stiffened. Ter'Ryn's eyes widened. "How?" Orin opened his eyes, his expression calm. "I listened." Halstyn's jaw tightened, his faith warring with the evidence before him. You could have asked somebody in town." "Yes, I could have," Orin smiled faintly. "But I didn't." Another silence, this one heavier laden with the weight of realization. Finally, Orin sat back. 25 years ago, I fought in the Battle of Red Hollow." Halstyn's expression darkened. "I know of it." The battle had been a surprise to everyone, an internal coup that had come from old nobility, those who could trace their lines back to Sylvan days before the Meridians had landed and began to integrate with the Sylvan clans. They held themselves in high esteem, prided nobility on blood above all else. The coup had nearly been successful had it not been for several key members of the Hood that had foiled their plans. "Well, then you know how close the kingdom came to ruin," Orin said. "The enemy was smart, their numbers far greater than we had initially thought. We should have lost." He exhaled. "But we didn't." Ter'Ryn leaned forward. "Because of the Nexus?" Orin nodded. "Yes, there were those among us who could feel it, who knew when and where the enemy would strike before they did. We could sense fear, hesitation, even resolve in the hearts of men. It was not magic that won the battle that day. It was connection, awareness, understanding." He fixed Halstyn with a pointed look. "And faith." Halstyn looked away, his hands curling into fists. I have faith in Elyon, not just made up." His voice trailed off as he thought about the sow whom he had learned just a few days prior was pregnant. Ter'Ryn's mind was racing. "So what does that mean for me?" Orin's expression softened. "It means you have a choice. You can ignore it, go on as you always have, and perhaps never think of it again." He paused. "Or you can learn. You can understand what it means to hear the Nexus, and what it means to answer it." Halstyn's voice was tight. "You want to take my son." "I want to offer him a path." Orin stood, adjusting his cloak. "The decision is his, and yours. I won't deceive you. It is not an easy path. It will require much. Everything, in fact. And also, there is more. We've only talked about the light side of the Nexus." He paused, letting them connect the dots. "Yes, that's right. There is a dark side. It thrives on the opposite of what makes the light so powerful, whereas the light side of the Nexus grows in the ability to choose, in the freedom of will and agency. The shadow gains more power through coercion, force, manipulation, and absolute control. Where the light would show truth and allow for choice, the demonic powers of the dark would hide the truth with falsehood and trap those fools who walk its path. It binds them to the will of..." His voice dropped to a whisper. "Vorath." At the mention of the word, Ter'Ryn felt something pull, and the faint sound of a distant scream made him turn quickly and look toward the window. "What was that?" he asked, now with genuine concern in his voice. "To talk of the shadow is to invite the shadow. I will say no more, other than this. You were born for greatness, Master Ter'Ryn. It is plain to me as the nose on your face. However, as the will of the Nexus bids, you must choose." He moved toward the door, pausing with his hand on the latch. "I will leave at dawn. If you wish to know more, meet me by the eastern road." Without another word, he stepped into the cold night, leaving father and son alone in the firelight, their world forever changed. Thank you for joining me today as we look beyond the well. What lies ahead is not just a tale, it's a journey, one that we will take together. If you're ready to step further into Aldarion, subscribe and follow Beyond the Well wherever you listen to podcasts. For even more information, visit beyondthewell.net for transcripts, notes, character descriptions, maps, and much more. And remember, sometimes the path we walk reveals more than we ever imagined. So, keep seeking, keep dreaming, and keep telling your story. Bye.